Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhan Hari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhan Hari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Mr. Bhad Paramahansa Purajikacharya Ashtotar the Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Bhad Paramahansa Purajikacharya Ashtotar the Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Kantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. It's not. Okay. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Oh, here is some water. You do fill it. Thank you. You want to leave a little bit more room at the top so it's less dangerous spilling on you. I didn't spill, but okay. Nastapayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavat Yuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious within the heart is destroyed almost to nil, and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord, who is glorified in transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. What's today, the 27th or 26th? 27th. On this 27th day of September 2019 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are in Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 19, King Prithu's 100 Horse Sacrifices. And we're going to begin in text 3, but that's not actually the verse. We're going to go further, but we chant this one. Yatra yagyapati sakshad Bhagavan Haririshwaraha Anvabhuyata Sarvatma Sarvaloka Guru Prabhu. Sorry, forgot my thing. Yatra yagyapati sakshad Bhagavan Haririshwaraha Anvabhuyata Sarvatma Sarvaloka Guru Prabhu. Yatyangapati Sakshan Bhagavan Haririshwaraha Anvabhuyata Sarvatma Sarvaloka Guru Prabhu. Yatra Yagyapati Saksha Bhagavan Haririshwaraha Bhuyata Sarvatma Sarvaloka Guru Prabhu. Yatra Yagyapati Saksha Bhagavan Haririshwaraha Anvabhuyata Sarvatma Sarvaloka Guru Prabhu. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is present in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, and He is the proprietor of all planets and the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. He was personally present at the sacrifices made by King Prithu. Text 4. Anvito brahmasarvabhyam lokapalai sahanugai upagiyamano gandharvaya munibis chapsaroganai. When Lord Vishnu appeared in the sacrificial arena, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all the chief predominating personalities of every planet, as well as their followers, came with him. When he appeared on the scene, the residents of Gandharvaloka, the great sages, and the residents of Apsaroloka all praised him. Text 5. The Lord was accompanied by the residents of Siddhaloka and Vidyadharaloka, all the descendants of Diti, and the demons and the Yakshas. He was also accompanied by his chief associates, headed by Sunanda and Nanda. Text 6. Great devotees who were always engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as well as the great sages named Kapila, Narada, and Dattatreya, and masters of mystic powers, headed by Sanaka Kumara, all attended the great sacrifice with Lord Vishnu. My dear Vidura, in that great sacrifice, the entire land came to be like the milk-producing Kamadhenu cow. And thus, by the performance of yajna, all daily necessities for life were supplied. Okay, this was the actual verse. I'll just say it myself. Text 8. Uhu sarvavasan nadya chira dadyan gorasan tadavo bhuri varshmana prasuyanta madhuchutaha. The flowing rivers supplied all kinds of tastes, sweet, pungent, sour, etc. And very big trees supplied fruit and honey in abundance. The cows, having eaten sufficient green grass, supplied profuse quantities of milk, yogurt, clarified butter, and similar other necessities. Purport. We're on text number 419.8. If rivers are not polluted and are allowed to flow in their own way, or sometimes allowed to flood the land will become very fertile and able to produce all kinds of vegetables, trees, and plants. The word rasa means taste. Actually, all rasas are taste within the earth, and as soon as seeds are sown in the ground, various trees sprout up to satisfy our different tastes. For instance, sugarcane provides its juices to satisfy our taste for sweetness, and oranges provide their juices to satisfy our taste for a mixture of sour and the sweet. Similarly, there are pineapples and other fruits. At the same time, there are chilies to satisfy our taste for pungency. Although the earth's ground is the same, different tastes arise due to different kinds of seeds. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 7:10, Bijam mam sababhutanam. I am the original seed of all existences. Therefore, all arrangements are there. And as stated in the Upanishad, Purnamidham, complete arrangements for the production of all the necessities of life are made by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. People should therefore learn how to satisfy the Yajna Purush. You don't want a seat? Take a cushion, please. Take two of them, one for the back. People should therefore learn how to satisfy the Yajna Purush, Lord Vishnu. Indeed, the living entity's prime business is to satisfy the Lord, because the living entity is part and parcel of the Lord. Thus the whole system is so arranged that the living entity must do his duty as he is constitutionally made. Without doing so, all living entities must suffer. That is the law of nature. The words Tadavo Bhuri Varshmana indicate very luxuriantly grown, big-bodied trees. The purpose of these trees was to produce honey and varieties of fruit. In other words, the forest also has its purpose in supplying honey, fruits, and flowers. Unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, due to an absence of yajna, there are many big trees in the forest, but they do not supply sufficient fruits and honey. Thus, everything is dependent on the performance of yajna. The best way to perform yajna in this age is to spread the Sankirtan movement all over the world. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes the importance of three things in human society: yajna, dana, and tapa. And each of them requires us to go against the grain. They're anti-sense gratification. Here we're especially hearing about yajna, or sacrifice. Now, third chapter, there's a statement, yajnartat kamanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana, that all of our activities are meant to be in the mood of sacrifice. For whom? Prabhupada makes it clear there that yajna has another meaning in Vishnu. Yajna means sacrifice for Vishnu. So all, as Prabhupada says, all activities, everything we do is meant to be performed as a sacrifice for Vishnu. Otherwise, whatever you do is binding, because there has to be some motive. If the motive is not to please Vishnu, it's going to be to please yourself. And that's incurring karma. That's fruit of activity. So, and then there's tapasya. Now, in the performance of yajna, there is often tapasya. They're not mutually exclusive. Tapasya means austerity, literally doing something that may be painful, or either physically, mentally, emotionally, somehow or other, for the purpose of purification. The key verse for tapasya is Lord Rishabdev, 5th canto, 1st chapter, text 1. Nayam deho dehabhajang niloke kashtan kamanadate vidbhujange tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam shuddye jismam brahmasaukyam tvanantam. So tapasya involves something that's anything but sense gratification. If there's sense gratification in it, it's not tapasya. So, but it's with the understanding that you're purifying your existence and coming to the state of to be able to enjoy much more. The enjoying mood is not negated in Krishna consciousness, it's purified. So Rishabdev here says, very strongly to his sons and other great souls who are listening, he's about to take sannyas, so this is his last main message here. Those who have taken a human form of birth, dehabhajan nriloke, within the human society, he says, I don't think it's a very good idea to work very hard to get the kind of sense gratification that even the hogs enjoy by eating abominable substances. In other words, he condemns that life as self-defeating, not worthy of human beings. So on the other hand, tapo divyam putra, oh my sons, you should perform austerity, but divya tapa. In other words, for divine purposes. Because tapasya, as we learned very much from Hiranyakashipu and all these great demons, they're doing it for demonic purposes, to become more powerful, to enjoy. So tapasya in and of itself is not uplifting. It's the purpose you do it for. So therefore he says, tapo divyam putrika. And what kind of austerities? That comes from Shastra, from the great souls, from Guru. So what will be the result? Tapo divyam putrika yena sattvam shuddhyed. By which tapasya you will purify your whole existence. And what's the end result of that? Sattvam shuddhyed yasma brahma saukyam tanamtam. You will become eligible, you become able to enjoy brahma saukya, spiritual happiness, which doesn't end. The main problem with sense gratification has a beginning and an end. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Adyantamanta konteya nateshu ramate buddha. Those who are intelligent don't try to enjoy their senses, knowing well it has a beginning and an end. And in the beginning of the verse it says, that bhoga, that enjoyment you have, yehi samsarjaja bhoga, dukkha yona yevate. That's the source of your misery. If nothing else, if you don't get miserable in this life, just like there's this whole thing now, you may be aware of it, with vaping, vaping, right? So vaping was supposed to be an alternative to cigarettes, to help you quit cigarettes. You can quit cigarettes, but you become even more addicted to nicotine, which is what the essence of it is. And they throw in these other chemicals which cause all kinds of diseases. So this is the nature of sense gratification. It entraps you, because once you enjoy it, you want to do it again. And if nothing else, it brings you back into a material body to suffer birth, old age, disease, and death. So sense gratification is the bane of life, of the living entity. Krishna says it's the enemy. Kama esha kodesha Kama esha kodesha rajoguna samudbhava mahashano mahapapma vidyanama yavaidinam. Now it's interesting, Arjuna is sitting with Krishna on his chariot, and there's a vast array of soldiers on the other side, who you might say, well, these are his enemies, right? You're on a battlefield. Krishna says, no, your real enemy is in the heart, is lust, is strong material desire, which inevitably is transformed into wrath or intense anger, because it's unquenchable, burns like fire. So eventually you become frustrated and you're trying to enjoy, and you become angry and furious. Just like you can see all these things being played out in society. This is a passage talking about ideal society. That what do you call the standard of living in America has stagnated or gone down. You have everyone knows, a vast gap between those at the top, the 1% or 1/10 or 100th of 1%, and the vast mass of people. So what they once had, or what could at least hope to have, millions of people, they're finding it slipping away from them. Their material situation is degrading. And this is causing them tremendous anxiety and anger. And you have it comes out in these periodic shootings, in a lot of, within the family, so much dissension, a lot of, divorce and all kinds of things going on. And a lot of taking shelter of intoxicants and these things. So that's anger turned inward. You become depressed, self-destructive. It's still anger, it's frustration. This is the result of material desire. But if you're fortunate enough to practice the purifying process of bhakti yoga, you become able to enjoy from within. The perfect example I always like to quote is the 6 Goswamis. They were very wealthy. 3 of them were extremely wealthy. The right and left hand of the king, of the Shah, and Raghunath Das was the heir, like a billionaire, the sole heir of a multi-million-dollar fortune. But once they got the taste for serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they came in contact with him and got the taste for bhakti, they gave it up. Turnam. The word turnam is quickly. What is that? Chaktva turnam ashesha mandadapatishe nisada tuchavat bhutva dina ganeshako kadonaya kopina kantashita. So all 3 of them, Raghunath had to escape. You know the story. They were trying to, his parents said, you have this beautiful wife, you have this, all this money coming to you. They couldn't believe. They thought it was a passing phase. Maybe if we just keep him restrained, he'll get over it. never got over it. Once he got the mercy of Lord Nityananda, he was just thinking, how can I join Lord Chaitanya? And he became the ideal from the most wealthy, even more than Rupa and Sanatan. He became the most renounced. He became the ideal of renunciation. Eventually he was in Jagannath Puri, he wasn't even begging. He would just eat the rejected half-rotten rice that the cows wouldn't even eat. He'd wash it, and that was his foodstuff. But he was enjoying incredible bliss. Lord Chaitanya gave him the Gunja necklace and the Govardhan Shila that he had gotten on his visit to Vrindavan. You can imagine the spiritual potency of that. He gave those to him, and Raghunath Das was worshipping under the guidance of Swarup Damodar. And it's described he's experiencing the greater happiness than any other yogi could possibly feel. But his material position had come down to nothing. And as far as the Goswamis, at that point, Rupa and Sanatan were situated in Vrindavan, and they came down, what does it say? Budva Dina Ganeshago, Karunaya Kopina Kantashido. So their clothes were like rejected kopin and things that you could find. In other words, whatever they could find, they would wear. They didn't have any residence. They're living under a different tree each night. Sometimes eating, sometimes not. Sleeping 1.5 hours, if that. So practically everything that you have materially, they had come down to the absolute minimum. But then the third line, what is their state of mind? Gopi bhava dasamratabdala hari kalola magno mahur. Again and again they're diving and swimming in the waves of the nectarian ocean of Gopi bhava for Krishna, which is the highest levels of ecstasy. So that's an expansion of this verse from Rishabdev. Brahma saukyam tvanantam. So that's tapasya. Now, then there's dana. Dana is the other thing. Dana means charity. Now, that's of course, you could say, related to sacrifice. You're sacrificing your own use of some money and you're giving it, for a good cause. But who is the real object of the dana? For devotees, it's Krishna. Krishna's devotees, help to put on a festival, something like that. In other words, it's Krishna conscious activities. And that contribution is so great, it's that even if you give $1 to Krishna, it comes back 1,000,000 times. In other words, what it does is it's breaking your attachment for whatever wealth you're giving, and directly serving Krishna's mission. So it's all auspicious, and that's why every temple has a hundi and so forth, because people understand that. This is all auspicious. I can contribute to the running of the temple. So those three things, yajna, dana, and tapa, should never be given up. And even in pure devotion, you'll find devotees engaging in those things, at least as example. And especially, as Prabhupada points out here, again and again, whenever yajna comes in this age, the most important yajna is Sankirtan yajna. And it's so wonderful because what's the real expense? Basically just show up, hear and chant and dance. There's no expenditure. And the benefits are way beyond any other yajna. Yajna is necessary just to eat. What's that in the 3rd chapter? Anadbhavandi bhutani parjanyadana sambhava. Yajna bhavati parjanya yajna karma samudbhava. Karma brahmamanvadi brahmakshana samudbhava tasmadi. I forget the last Sanskrit. That anna, or foodstuffs, especially grains, is produced from rain. Who can deny it? So where does rain come from? Well, it comes from the sky. Yeah. But it only comes when you perform enough sacrifice. That was the whole message of the Govardhan Puja, right? They didn't perform the sacrifice, so Indra got mad and with too much rain. It's not just rain, it has to be the right amount at the right time, not too much, not too little, So someone's got to regulate it. So here Krishna is giving the facts of life. You're dependent on food. No one can argue. The food you can't produce. You are dependent on nature for that. And the rains have to come. The rains come from yajna. Yajna is born of your prescribed duties. Each one has a certain yajna. And those are mentioned in the Vedas, which are they're simply the words of God. So ultimately the sacrifice is to Krishna. The sacrifice is recognizing the higher, at least the higher order and the higher authority. And in this way, there's a cycle. You're getting the rain, you're getting the food, you're keeping yourself strong, you're recognizing the authority, paying your taxes, if you will, with the yajna, and everything is going on. That's in the 3rd chapter. When people don't understand that, they think that we can just manipulate the agriculture scientifically, then eventually the rains come not enough or too much. We're seeing that now. Climate change is nature's way of punishing all of the nonsense that's going on. And so the bottom line, basic line, is there's not enough food stuff, and you have these people migrating. Even now, you see, from the Middle East, from Syria. A big problem in Syria was there was a drought, and people all went into the cities to try to survive, and it created havoc. So this is by contrast, you have now Krishna in his expansion as Prithu, his empowered expansion, ruling, and he's just gotten the earth to provide everything by the milking. We saw the different milking. And the result is everything is auspicious for the people. They're happy, and this is the abundance that is produced when there is a saintly king and the Brahmins are running everything and sacrifices are going on. So Prabhupada describes how the earth is the source of all the tastes that we have, that we experience. It's all there, and then the different seeds that are planted produce different trees or plants, and then we can mix those, and that's the food stuff. Without that, there's no survival. Ishopanishad quotes the complete arrangements. It's such a delicate thing, even in our own body. The body is such a balance of all these chemical things and the endocrine. What is it called? I forget what they call. But little substances that are have to come at the right time. The pituitary gland and all these different things have to work in balance. It's simply silliness to think that this just came up out of evolution without a guiding intelligence. They've made this phrase intelligent design into some kind of a signal of backward thinking, but it's obviously the most obvious thing. Without intelligent design, how could anything go on? I mean, in the material world, we accept intelligent design, right? And when the intelligent design is not so intelligent, they had this plane that fell out of the sky, Boeing, hundreds of millions of dollars of suits, That means that the designer blew it, right? The intelligence wasn't applied properly. So you can imagine how delicate the balance of all these things going on. Now the oceans, I mean, those who can see, you can understand. The oceans are becoming poisoned. They're getting in all of this heat, absorbing from the greenhouse gases, becoming more acidic, and there's less fish, and we're dependent on all that plankton. I mean, the oxygen's coming up from there, destroying the balance, And then we think that, there's a technological fix to it. It's like ignorance. So, I mean, Kali Yuga is supposed to last another 427,000 years. It's hard to see how that's going to happen. It just seems like it's going down so fast. Maybe 10 years. Anyway, we'll see. Krishna can intervene as he has in so many times. I once studied this. You've heard the story before, but you remember. You're too young to remember the Cuban Missile Crisis, but you may have read about it. I was 14. I was completely aware of what was going on in 1962, and it was like, everybody's worst nightmare was suddenly coming true. It seemed a foregone conclusion. You have the Soviet Union, which looked, on the map a lot more menacing than it really was, because it was huge. It was about 3 times as big as the United States. And they usually painted it red. And with China, there's another big country. Half of the world is red, menacing. So little kids growing up say, "Oh my God, what's that?" Yeah, and they've got these atom bombs, they're blowing up. And of course, there's plenty of that on the movies and TV. You see the atom bomb blowing up. That's the end. So that was the images that were going through everybody's mind. It's all over. They've got these atom bombs. They're only 90 miles off the coast of Florida, and if we attack them, they'll blow us up. And it looks like there's a clash, coming, and the boats are coming. So, as is often the case, we didn't know just how close we did come. According to the popular imagination, which I thought, all right, the boats came, the Russian boats are coming, the American boats are surrounding Cuba, and then they stopped. The Russian boat stopped. Well, okay, our Secretary of State said, yeah, we're facing face to face, but the other guy just blinked. We won. And what wasn't understood at that time, there's this desperate communication going on between Kennedy and Khrushchev. He was the leader at that time, and they came to an agreement. And one of the reasons is they'd both been through World War II. Kennedy was fought in World War II. He saw almost combat and saw the horror. And Khrushchev was in Russia. You can imagine what. So they had this visceral understanding of what war really meant. Unlike today, where nobody's been through World War II who's leading. So anyway, they came to this agreement. All right, we'll remove the weapons from Cuba, but if you have to promise not to invade, and America will take these missiles out of Turkey, but we won't announce it that way. People won't know. So anyway, so it calmed down. Obviously, we survived. But what people didn't know at the time was that there were submarines accompanying those surface ships of Russia. I've mentioned this before, but and in those submarines they were armed with nuclear-tipped torpedoes, which could have blown up any of our big aircraft carriers there. So each of the submarines, there were 2 or 3 of them. They had 2 commanders, and both had to agree. They probably had those keys, like you've seen in the movies. To agree to shoot those torpedoes because it meant the end of the world. You're going to blow up a big aircraft carrier, then the missiles will start flying. So the American ships, by their radar, they could understand that those submarines were there. They didn't know that they had nuclear torpedoes, but they knew they were there. Now they somehow communicated with Moscow that we're going to drop these depth charges, not to blow them up, but we have these depth charges that just are meant to scare them. They're blowing up, but they're not meant to sink because we want them to surface so that they won't be able to shoot those torpedoes. But Moscow had no way of communicating down there, so those guys are down there, thinking as soon as those depth charges come, that they're trying to blow us out of the water. The war must have started already. So 2 of the guys are thinking that. But the submarine that was getting depth charged also had the admiral for the whole fleet in there by Christian's arrangement. And although the 2 guys said, yes, let's shoot the torpedoes, the admiral said, no, it can't be. There's got to be some mistake. So they surfaced, which was the whole point anyway, and there was no war going on, and we were all saved. You were all born, and I got to see my 15th birthday, and on and on. And that was just one of many close calls. So Krishna has intervened. There's been divine intervention many times. There's a whole bunch of these near misses and mistakes on the computer and all this stuff. So how many times can we ask him to intervene? It's going to take another miracle for us to survive all of this craziness going on now. But this is the ideal, is that a God-conscious king rules, a God-conscious leader. He's guided by the Brahmins, qualified Brahmins, and he sees that the people are all performing their proper duties, and nature is providing abundance. As we see here, the trees are growing, but they're not just trees. They've all got fruits and flowers, and the honey is flowing and all this stuff. That's the perfect harmony of when there's a God-conscious leader, and the people are encouraged in their devotional lives, their yoga, and the dacoits are put under control, and they're not able to dominate. So that's again and again we find examples in the Bhagavatam of kings like Parikshit and Yudhishthir, and here's Prithu and Rishabdev and others. So by contrast, you also have the demonic kings who, big demons who get a hold of power. And we know Krishna Leela, so many eliminated. I'm just reading the Krishna book where he's about to eliminate Jarasandha. Jarasandha attacked Mathura 18 times. He thought he won the last time, So it's always a fight in this material world, the struggle between the lower self and the higher self, with the modes of nature, And because of the nature of time, everything good degrades, as Krishna says in the 4th chapter. Evam parambara praptam imam rajashayo viduhu sakale nehamata yoga nashta parantapa. Exactly pertinent to what we're reading. I spoke this science that I'm speaking to you, Arjun, to the sun god millions of years ago. And it came down through disciplic succession to his son into Ikshvaku and the human society. But Sakalena Mahata Yoga, that great yoga, has been corrupted by the force of time. That's what time does. Yoga Nashta Parantapa is practically destroyed now. So therefore, Sahevaya Maya Tedya Yoga Prokta Paratana Bhaktosime Sakacheti Rahasametirudu. Therefore, I'm going to speak to you the same yoga that I spoke before, because you're my devotee and my friend, you'll receive it properly. He's renewing the disciplic succession. And we have, it's a mere 5,000 years ago compared to the time frames we're looking at. So it's yesterday. And we have the opportunity to also be instructed by Krishna through Bhagavad Gita and through Bhagavatam and these rules. So this is the only hope for humanity, is that these principles, as embodied by the books of Srila Prabhupada and other books following, and sincere followers, will eventually dominate in the world, and everybody will be chanting Hare Krishna. That's the purpose of this movement. So any questions on these points? It's almost 8:30. All right, well, let's go through the Shikshastika, because he's talking about the best way to perform yajna in this age is to spread the Sankirtan movement all over the world. So the basic meaning of Sankirtan is getting together and chanting the holy name. And Lord Chaitanya taught in his 8 famous verses the practice and the goal of chanting Krishna's holy name. And what does it say at the end? It says, these 8 essential verses Lord Chaitanya wrote to teach the practice and the goal of chanting Krishna's holy name. Day by day, whoever sings this hymn will surely reach a little closer to perfection. Spotless Krishna praying. So, Chaitodapanamarjanam, Pavamahadavagninirvapanam, Shreyakaidavachandikava tadanam bindyavadu jivanam, Anandam buddhivardhanam patipadam purnamita swadanam, Sarvatmasna param param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Oh, glory to the chanting of Shri Krishna's holy names, which easily extinguishes samsara's blazing flames by polishing the lust-encrusted mirror of the heart. That chanting is the waxing moon that knows the secret art of causing the white lotus of good fortune to unfurl its petals far and wide throughout this bleak and blighted world. Of transcendental knowledge which will take us to life's goal, the chanting of the name of Krishna is the life and soul. The ocean of ecstatic bliss floods far beyond its bounds, wherever Krishna's merciful and mystic name resounds. Indeed, whenever Krishna's names are sung in congregation, at every step one tastes a joy that knows no limitation. So hear with great attention as I earnestly request, please chant Shri Krishna's holy name and be supremely blessed. The soothing nectar of the name will bathe your consciousness, bestow pure love for Krishna, and eradicate distress. So but alas, we have no taste for chanting. Nam namakani bahudani jasarva shaktis tatrapita niyamitak smaranena kalaha etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi andurdaiva midrishamiha janinanuraga. Krishna, Govinda, and Keshava too, your names have no end, and in each of them you have invested your potencies, leaving none out. Whenever we want, we can chant them without the slightest restriction of time or of place. O Lord, who can fathom your infinite grace? Yet I am so wretched and devoid of all shame that I haven't developed a taste for your name. So then the next verse gives us the formula for developing taste. Trinadapi sunichena, taron api sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadaharihi. More humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, to think all praise belongs to others, none belongs to me. Such qualities attract the Lord to bless one with the power to chant His name incessantly until the final hour. Have you got the poem there, or you got from the songbook? Who's got the poem? Okay. So then, what to pray for? Nadanang najanang nasundarim kapitang bhajagadish kamaye mama janmani janmanishware bhavata bhaktita hoitukitvahi. Wealth and women followers, the fruits of mundane piety, liberation from this world of limitless anxiety. For me, O Lord, these common goals have not the slightest worth. Let me serve you purely now and in each future birth. And then more specifically, he's praying there to Jagadisha. What does Jagadisha mean there, Jamal? Lord of the universe. So that's just pretty generic. There's not much rasa there. But next, Ainannatanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tapapada punkaja sitadhuli sadushang vachindaya. Thank you for coming. Hare Krishna. Oh, your servant for eternity, I lost my true identity and fell into this horrid sea of birth and death, O Lord. O Nanda's son, please hear my plea. Ask him if... Do you want a little prasad? We can take a little, take some. Yeah, please. We have it. It's offered already. Your servant for eternity, I lost my true identity and fell into this horrid sea of birth and death, O Lord. O Nanda's son, please hear my plea. By your sweet grace, consider me a speck of dust upon your lotus feet forevermore. And then praying for more perfection. Nayanangadadashuddhareya badanangadadudhaya gira pulakayan hichatang vapukadat vanamo guhanim bhavishyati. Tears streaming from my eyes, my voice choked with bliss, the hair upon my body standing up in happiness. When will all these signs of rapture decorate my limbs as I chant your holy name, the monarch of all hymns? And then Lord Chaitanya in the mood of Radharani. Yugahitang nameshena chakshusha prabhashahitam shunyahitam jagatsavam govinda vidahe name. Every moment drags on like 1,000,000 years or more. From the rain clouds of my eyes the tears in torrents pour. This whole creation is nothing but a vast and joyless void. O Govinda, by your absence I am being destroyed. Ashlishya pararatam pinashtamam adarshanan mahatang karotava hitatava vadadhatu lampato mat prananatas tu sahevanaparah. Let Madhava embrace this maid who's fallen at his feet. Or let him trample me on my most ardent hopes' defeat by never giving me a chance to see him anywhere, thus shattering my heart and plunging me into despair. You see, he is a restless libertine and not a saint. So let him act in any way he likes without restraint. Yet though his cruel and crooked ways may cause me constant woe, Krishna is the only Lord my heart shall ever know. These 8 essential verses Lord Chaitanya wrote to teach the practice and the goal of chanting Krishna's holy name. Day by day, whoever sings this hymn will surely reach a little closer to perfection. Spotless Krishna praying. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.